Hey, and welcome to this episode of Connections, Coffee, and Confidence with me, Janice. Sometimes you hit a point where you know you need to stretch a bit. You need new people to speak with, new audiences to hear what you have to say, new eyeballs on your business, or new challenges to help you grow as a business or as a person. Public relations can help you do all of these things. And while you might not consider yourself a writer, a speaker, an authority, you can have an event, guest blog or post, go on a podcast, get featured in a magazine or a newspaper, and so much more, and reap those benefits that I just talked about. But there are 3 things that you need to make it all happen. And today, that's what I'm talking about. Hi, I'm Janice Fogarty, and I'm a communications strategist and consultant. The Connections, Coffee, Confidence podcast is for professional women entrepreneurs who have established themselves and their business, and they're ready to get serious about using the power of communication to surpass their business goals. On this podcast, I discuss everything from leadership to establishing a business vision to the intricacies of creating messaging, publicity, and more. I speak to women who excel in communications in their business, whatever they do, and get an inside look at how they created a thriving livelihood. So top up your mug and welcome to this week's episode. PR is a fantastic way to grow your business by increasing your visibility. You can create and grow a reputation in any number of ways through a seemingly infinite number of activities and approaches. However, there are 3 overarching elements that will always be present, shaping those activities. And if you want to do your PR yourself, these are 3 things you want to keep in mind. Starting with a plan. Yep. If you've listened to this podcast for more than just this episode, you know I'm all about the plan, the strategy. Mostly because I am all about the not wasting time, not wasting effort, and not wasting money. And in order to accomplish all of that, you need a plan. Who do you want to talk to? What do you need them to hear? When do you want them to hear it? How do you want them to feel? Or what do you want them to do afterwards? And so much more. It's all covered in your plan. Your budget is included in your plan. How much do you want all of this to cost you in terms of cold, hard cash? And okay, allow me a moment here because that really shouldn't be an expression anymore, should it? How much cold, hard cash do you actually have in your wallet, stuffed under your mattress or hidden in your cookie jar right now? When's the last time you paid for something in cash? I mean, we finally bought dining room chairs a few weeks ago and we paid cash for them as we were buying them off of Facebook, and you know how you pay cash and you get a good deal. But otherwise, cold hard cash? It still feels more impactful than cold, sterile click of an e-transfer though, right? Anyway, the budget, even if it's 0, should be included. Your plan is your opportunity to decide your moves in advance so that they're cohesive, so your activities build on and support each other as well as supporting you. And if you want to do your own PR, your plan will help you figure out the timings, as you will have deadlines, and depending on the activities you want to try, some of those deadlines will be external and firm. Think of how annoyed you'll be when you realize that the deadline for that big submission to your ideal magazine was 2 weeks ago. Or that podcast you want to get on, well, that's booking 6 months out. You'll research these things as part of your planning process, and it'll make the doing of these activities so much easier. It'll relieve any potential friction between the idea and the execution. And that's a good thing. The second element to doing your own PR is time. You want to be aware of how much time you have to put into making things happen. Look, I'd love to tell you that PR is always quick and simple. But if it was, a lot more people would be doing it, and you wouldn't be sitting here listening to me talk about it. The truth is that it takes time to plan. It takes time to execute. It takes time to research, to reflect, to submit, to rewrite, to edit some more, to resubmit, to dig and examine and weigh the options, and I think you get the idea. Now, there's a point where it does make sense to hire someone, either to help out with the big things, such as the researching and creating the plan, or the small things like sending the actual emails and monitoring for responses and following up. But it can be manageable on your own if you plan it with your availability in mind, and if you're diligent about working a certain number of hours per week to achieve your PR goals. As solopreneurs or people with small businesses, it can be really daunting to take on something new. There's always a learning curve, and those learning curves take time to flatten out. The worst thing we can do is think something into oblivion. That eats up so much otherwise productive time. When you create your plan, your timings and deadlines are mapped out, making it easier for you to fit the activities into your schedule. So you don't need to overthink it, you just follow your plan. And something that can be so frustrating, but I actually love about PR, is that most of it is a slow-paced thing. You have deadlines for sure, but the rollout is usually consistent. When you're building a reputation, you don't want to be a lightning flash, bright and beautiful and a fading memory. You want to be something like the ocean, rolling in constantly and consistently, so when someone knows that they need to find water, they immediately think of you. Okay, I'm not awesome at creating analogies, but I hope you get the idea. Time is a critical factor in that you need time to work and time to let things work. But it's not critical in that if you don't get it done in the next 5 minutes, your business is going to fail and you might as well start sending out your resume. Like the Stone said, time is on your side. Yes, it is. And the third element to doing your own PR is confidence. Oh my word, is it ever hard to put your face on posts or your voice in people's ears? We're usually brought up to just be good and do good, but you don't need to sing about it, much less shout about it from the rooftops. Who do you think you are, anyway? And if you haven't been told that directly, I bet you've seen or heard about someone else being told that. It's intimidating. And who actually wants to invite the kinds of nastiness that we've seen or heard about other women experiencing? Not me. And yet, here we are. Sometimes I just tell myself that nobody other than my best friends and my mom are listening anyway, and I know they love me, so I'm safe to record another episode or to put my face on my Facebook cover or whatever. And that often works. Other times I just need to take a deep breath and do it. You know that saying about courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway? I'll add to it that confidence is knowing that you'll cope and survive, that you'll be okay. Remember when I was talking about the plan and how researching and planning would make the doing so much easier? Yeah, well, that's because when it comes to the doing, at some point you're going to have a wobble. You're going to be at that point in your cycle where you've lost confidence. You're going to have someone tell you, no thanks. Your kids are going to shake your foundation. The Mercury retrograde will begin, whatever. The fact is that your confidence will shake. And that plan is what will be your backbone until you get over the struggle. You'll feel that shake, that discomfort in your tummy. But you'll see your plan. You'll know it's a good one. So you'll rely on it to carry you through. There's no thinking and second guessing there. It's just doing what the paper tells you to do. And when your confidence comes back, you'll be so glad you had something in place to support you through it. Because listen, we tend not to think of ourselves as experts. I see it time and time and time again. When I speak to my clients, I ask them questions. So, like I'm looking for their hooks, their stories, and trying to pull out their expertise that makes them stand out to the media and to the people that they want to work with. And I'm always blown away by what they just tell me offhand. Yeah, there was that time I won that award, or I've been doing this for longer than anyone else in my community, or I completely changed everything in my life to be able to do this. If you see someone else talking about something and you've done the exact same thing or something very similar, look, that's your cue that you too have a story worthy of sharing. That's your shot of external validation that you are worthy of being considered an expert or just a person of interest. If they can do it, so can you. And I promise you, the amount of, let's say, uninspiring people who have confidence and are killing it is actually killing me. And you're not like that. You're ethical. You're selling your hard-earned skills and capabilities, your talent, to people who need you. That's a position to confidently build your reputation on. When I look at these three elements, plan, time, and confidence, I really don't think I could pick one front runner. I'd love to say that the plan is the make or break, but without the time and the confidence to execute, what's the plan actually worth to you? Same with time. You might have time, but without a purpose or the confidence to use it, what good is that time? Creating a plan takes a solid dose of confidence, and all the time and intentions in the world are useless if you can't back yourself enough to put them in motion. Taken together, these are the three omnipresent items you need to take into consideration when deciding to do your PR. And if this is your time to start increasing your profile, but you want someone to walk you through it so that you can save that time overthinking and have someone to cheer you on, well, I'm here to fill that void. I'm hosting a podcast pitching workshop where we'll walk through all the steps so that by the end, you'll have submitted actual pitches to start your 2022 PR efforts. So if you're interested in raising your profile and attracting new audiences, you should get on my email list, follow my Facebook page, or join my private group. Search Connections, Coffee, and Confidence, and you'll find me on Facebook, or go to janisfogarty.com to get on my email list. And now, my friend, have a fan-freaking-tastic rest of your day. Thanks so much for listening this week. I invite you to sign up for my email list or join me in the Connections, Coffee, and Confidence community on Facebook. Those are the people who get first dibs on any classes or products I create, and they benefit from the extras I can't get into in a podcast format. I also lovingly request that if you've enjoyed this podcast, you leave a review on Apple. When I see a new review, I get so excited I almost spill my cappuccino froth. Almost. And if you're a woman entrepreneur who's ready to get serious about using the power of communications to grow your business, send me an email at janisfogarty.com. All my details are in the show notes. Thank you again for listening today, and I'll chat with you again next week.